is when people misunderstand each other to the point of violence. War means seeing children crying and dying when they're crossing the river to escape. I have seen war with my own eyes. I have seen family members running out of their own homes in search for each other. I have seen people killing each other. Do you understand? War means those men who call themselves Taliban come and take away my family when I was 17 years old. I used to go crazy every single time I would see a woman that slightly resembled my mother. I'd swear she would turn around and it would be her, smiling at me. But it never was. I have been alone now for 3 years. Do you understand? I remember my mother. She told my brother and I to go and hide, that the dangerous men were coming. So I grabbed onto his arm as he led me into hiding. And it feels like yesterday when I witnessed through a small crack in the wall my parents being murdered. Their cries of mercy still surrees in my ears. And that is the worst sound ever. And do you know what my brother did? He took his hand away from mine to go stop those men. His last words to me were, "Let me go, Rita, let me go. I must stop those men." And so he went. But they had guns! And he had what? His hands? I can still hear now the sound of the bullets ripping through his body, taking him down, just like my mother and my father. And I just sat there, holding my hands together, my heart beating so loudly, I thought the men would hear it over the sound of their voices. And when they left, I did not want to come out because the worst part of it all was when I finally came out, I came out into a room of silence and blood. Do you understand? I looked at my family's bodies, and their spirits were gone. How does one get over that? How how do you keep going when the worst thing just happened to you? Just standing there, looking at my family, I knew they had to be buried the right way, that they deserved to be buried the right way. And guilt just washed over me as I closed the eyes of my mothers and of my fathers and my brothers. Because they stood and they fought back. And I hid. And I can still feel how heavy their bodies were pressed against mine. And fear twisted inside my stomach every single time I thought those men would come back and catch me. But my brother was brave, so I had to be too. Have you ever buried a loved one with your own hands? Because it is the hardest work you would ever have to do. Work many women suffer through when our people have fallen. I sang to my family when they were resting peacefully under the earth. And that night I cried myself to sleep with no one to hug me, with no one to tell me that everything was going to be okay. And I kept thinking that my mother would come into the house with a bowl of water, and my father would be gently teasing my brother, and that our little hut would be filled with laughter and love once more. And those thoughts, they break me. They hurt. And I wanted to run. I did. But run where? Because wherever I turn, there is war, stabbing its pain into our eyes and into our hearts that cannot be erased. I go to bed every night now, praying for a tomorrow that will bring happiness I only felt when I had a family. I want to scream to the world that I am alive, not half dying, not half dying. Enough is enough with war. I'm exhausted from war. I have been born in war. I was raised in war. It has become the story of my life, and I am done with it. I want my children to grow in peace and love and harmony and have a better future. We, the women, the survivors of war, we're the ones who clean up after it. We wash the blood off the floors, and we bury the bodies of the fallen. I am done being the maid of war. I have had enough. Do you understand?